Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Late Night Dice Ramblings from the Warp. As always, I'm joined by beautiful Kyle, wonderful Christian. Say hi to everybody.
Yo, we switched them up this time. I don't like it, but hi, everybody.
What up, everybody?
So, just a side note, if you hear me sniffling, coughing, wheezing, and doing all the stuff that you hear about in Tylenol commercials, I am a touch under the weather, so bear with me.
You're autistic?
Was that?
I said you're autistic?
That was already implied. So,
Tylenol joke.
I caught what you're saying, stupid. Thank God I'm an Alka-Seltzer man. So, Inductii rules dropped.
Ooh, what does that mean?
Okay, so Kyle, you didn't really get a lot of experience with Inductii. Christian, you didn't get a lot of experience with them. And the reason being is because in 2.0, Inductii were... How can I put this delicately? They fucking sucked! They weren't good. There were like one or two legions where like if you built around them, you could make them cool. But you were never like, man, this unit's banging, I'm gonna run the shit out of them, right?
I know that my Death Guard had some special rule with Inductii, and I was like, "Hey, Gabe," and you're like, "No."
So let's talk about what Inductii are, right? From a lore standpoint and where they come into the story, and then why they exist, right? So think World War II, 1944, right? All of the people that were volunteering and going in and doing all that were already doing it, right? So now we're doing the draft, essentially, right? And we're pushing people through training. We're pushing people out to the line. Those are your Inductii. So these are still Space Marines. They've still gone through all of the craziness and all the augments and all the stuff, right? But what's different between Inductii and regular Space Marines is when you look at a normal legionary that's been a part of the army through all of the Great Crusades and through the compliance stuff and all that. Some of these guys came all the way from Terra, from, all the initial wars and like the Luna War and all that. These Inductii have never known normal, rigid legionary warfare. They've only known the Civil War. So they think different. They fight a little bit different. They've been adapted different, and they're not as experienced. You have to remember, Space Marines are immortal until killed. Right? Until you actually put down a Space Marine, it's not going to die of old age. Now, they'll start to feel it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's stories about like Dante where he's just like, just let me die. Like a Meeseeks box, right? But, yeah. He's definitely got the Meeseeks feels.
Existence is pain.
So, Space Marines don't die unless you kill them. So some of these Space Marines have hundreds of years of experience. Some of these dudes were on Terra when the Emperor was like, we're going to go out and find my babies and we're going to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I don't believe in bubblegum because that's heresy. And they ran out into the stars. They've been with him since day one. Some of the legionaries that are part of like the Dark Angels and such are still wielding weapons from what's referred to as the Dark Age of technology. So now you have these new guys. These guys are brand new to the war. They're basically like press ganged out there. Like they're getting the Dave Chappelle, Monica Lewinsky story. Like, go out there and be somebody. Right? And again, they're not normal legionaries, right? They still have all the heraldry and all of the background and everything else. So like an Imperial Fist Inductii is still an Imperial Fist, right? An Ultramarines Inductii is still an Ultramarine. They just fight a little different because they have a different experience. They're not going out there and they're not bound by all the old honor bound, like the dueling pits and the stuff. No, dude, they hit the ground and they're like, holy shit, they're shooting bolters at us. Those hurt. To reflect that, they put out these new Inductii units. These came about in second edition. These are basically the units that are part of your Legion. They're brand new Space Marines. They're not scouts, but they're Space Marines. And they have special rules. In second edition, like I said, none of them really like popped out at you. None of them were really like, man, if you're not running Inductii, you're messing up. they never fit into a list that wasn't catered to them. That is not the case in 3.0. They are all good. You guys know how I feel when I say like words like, "Oh yeah, they're absolutely wonderful. They're great. They're amazing." Like nobody took an L. Normally, somebody takes an L. They roll out a new box set, or they roll out a new edition, or a new rule book, whatever it may be. Somebody's taking an L, right? One of the legions get the short end of the straw. With the Inductii PDF that came out, nobody took a loss. Everyone got a good quality unit out of this PDF. Now, to get into that, I want to explain a couple of key rule differences between 2.0 and 3.0 and why the Inductii are good, right? Because we need to put a little bit of depth to this before I explain what they do and why they do it, right? First things first is we know that 3rd edition scores differently now. 3rd edition is more objective heavy. It's less about the killing and more about the holding objectives. So rules like line will give you additional points for sitting on an objective. Support, if you have a unit that has support 1 or support 2, that number there limits the amount of points that objective can be worth, because some objectives are worth 3, some are worth 2, some are worth 1. Well, if you have a squad that support 1 and they're sitting on an objective worth 3 points, they're only going to get 1 point from it because they are support 1. Right? Vanguard says that if an enemy unit is on an objective and you kill that unit off the objective, or if you cause them to rout off that objective, you score points equal to your Vanguard number, which is a really cool mechanic, right? And then you also have tactical statuses. Stunned, pinned, suppressed, and routed. You can never hold an objective while you have a tactical status, right? That being said, in 2.0, Inductii were never line. In 3.0, some of them are line. Some of them are Vanguard. Some of them are line with expendable. Expendable says that if there is like a point-based scoring system, like Vanguard or something like that, where if you kill a unit off objective, you score so many points. Expendable says, nope, you get this many. You only get the 1. You only get the 2. That's actually a really cool mechanic as well, right? And some of these Inductii got it. Right? So knowing those rules, I want to get into them. So before I start into these, does anyone have any other questions about Inductii?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Kyle.
Sounds as golden. So first things first, Dark Angels. So Dark Angels Inductii are really the ones that are like the plainest that I've found. They are basically a 10-man tactical squad, but up to 2 models in the unit can take anything from the Legion equipment list. They are line, and here's the kicker. They don't come with bolt guns. They come stock with Volkite chargers. That is a 90-point scoring tactical squad that comes with Volkite. That's concerning. That's good.
Yeah.
Right? Second thing. Oh, one other thing. Last edition, there were detriments to Inductii. You lost a benefit, you gained a benefit. There was a lot of flip-flopping. Kyle, can you guess what the detriment is to taking Inductii in a list in 3.0?
Probably has something to do with the slot that they come from.
They're all troop choices.
Okay. So no.
They can't be taken as a prime slot. That's it.
Oh.
So, check this out. Emperor's Children. They got a 10-man unit, 100 points, but they come with bolt pistols and chainsword stock. They come with Vanguard 2. Any model in the unit can exchange its chainsword for a Charnabal saber for 5 points. That's really good when they have Vanguard 2. You're essentially making a tactical squad that can carry Charnabal sabers, can run up, cut things up, and for every 4 models in the squad, they can take a power weapon or a heavy chainsword. They can also swap out their pistols for exotic pistols, and then up to 2 of them can take anything from the Legion equipment. But what's crazy is they have a rule called Perfection Embodied that says when a check is made for that unit, they can take basically a status test, whenever they take that status test. So say you're going to do like a pin test, right? They're going to roll to see if they're pinned. They will roll an extra dice and drop the lowest or drop the highest for whichever test they need to pass. So if it's a morale test, and they have to roll under their leadership, right? Which this is another detriment to the Inductii. Most of the Inductii are leadership 7, which is a little bit lower than a casual Space Marine. So if they have to take a leadership test, they'll roll 3d6 and drop the highest.
Yeah, but most of these guys, I mean, is that really a detriment, man? Like, they all sound
that's
good.
good.
As long,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
That's great.
As long as for 90 points or whatever, and you're getting 10 bodies, that's a fucking steal for point cost. At that point, It's like they're just coming with extra shit for you.
Well, what I like about it is they can take power weapons, they can take Charnabal sabers, they can take Legion war gear. They can do some cool stuff. Iron Warriors. Christian, contain yourself. They're 90 points for 10 of them. They come with bolt guns. They have line and expendable and implacable advance.
So good.
This means they are a scoring unit. When you kill them, they're only worth 1 point for expendable. They have implacable advance, which means they'll be able to volley fire with their bolt guns if they charge or are charged because of the implacable advance. Any model in the unit can swap its bolter for a shotgun. Now, the reason why that's awesome is up to 2 of them can take anything from the Legion equipment list. That means that you can give 2 of them shrapnel bolters, a few of them shotguns, and the rest of them bolt guns, and you can potentially inflict 2 tactical statuses a turn.
Yep.
That's a great unit.
That's so fucking good. And for them, that's quite honestly like very rich in lore of them being expendable. So I really like that. I think it's a good unit.
Yep, they're fantastic. White Scars got another double whammy. So the White Scars come with bolt pistols and chainswords, which I love. Any of them can exchange their chainswords for a heavy chainsword. For every 4, they can take a power weapon or a Charnabal saber. Up to 2 of them can take Legion equipment. They can take Vexillas. They can take exotic pistols. But they have 3 rules. They have Vanguard 2. They have Expendable 1. And they have a rule called Proof of Valor. Proof of Valor could be one of the coolest rules you can put on a frontline unit. Christian is very familiar with this rule. For any strike group in which the attacking combatants have a current weapon skill characteristic of 5, the target number of any hit test resulting from the strike group is always a 4+.
Okay, that's not cool. I don't like that. Who did they give that to? White Scars?
White Scars, homeboy, on a Vanguard expendable unit.
They took that away from the Stones and gave it to White Scars. Okay. Good for them. Good for them. So it makes sense, though.
It does. It does. That's a White Scar thing. Space Wolves. Another unit. It's 100 points for 10 of them. They come with bolt pistols, chainswords. They have Vanguard 2, and they have a rule called Headstrong. The cool thing about this unit is any model in the unit can exchange their bolt pistol for a combat shield. That's pretty awesome. Also, they can take chain axes for free in place of their chainswords.
Okay.
Headstrong says that a unit that only includes models with a special rule can have a charge declared for them in the same turn they make a rush move. They can run in charge, baby. They can run in charge.
That's pretty good.
That's an 11-inch move with a charge on top of it. So here's the downside. they have to do the charge, right? But if they fail the charge, they're immediately stunned and pinned. Both. So
what are the stat lines for these ones? Because I know you said some of their stat lines are a little bit iffy.
So their stat lines are the same as a normal Space Marine all the way across the board,
Okay.
except that some of them have more or fewer attacks. Like so, the Space Wolves and the White Scars will have 2 attacks instead of 1. Where there's an impact is their Leadership 7, their Cool 7, their Willpower 6, and their Intelligence 6, which is lower than your average bear.
Yeah.
So a normal to put that in perspective, a normal tactical squad is sitting on 7,777 with a sergeant giving them a leadership of 8. So they're a little bit lower. They're not, they're not simple jack, but they're not 7s.
Yeah, I mean, but we're not sending any of these units out to go deal with Terminators or anything big. So, like, they'll be able to deal with other tacticals or anything, any other Inductii units. So it's still good
I think
as long as
I
you know
think
how to use them.
I think the Inductii are going to be really cool because you're going to see a lot of like actual casual Space Marines fighting casual Space Marines. Like, I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
we're going to see instances where like some Inductii guy is like, I'm gonna go out there and make a name for myself. I'm gonna go fight Abaddon, and somebody's in the background like, somebody write this down. He's about to get his ass whooped.
I think I've seen Kyle try to do something like that before.
Hey man, I'm just still trying to figure out what's a fork and what's a spoon, okay?
So next on the list is Imperial Fists, which I'm not gonna lie, this squad may be my favorite Inductii. So they are line 1. They come with bolt guns. They have a rule called supporting fire. For every 10 models in the unit, 1 model in the unit can take a heavy bolter or an autocannon, which I love. They can take Legion equipment. Up to 2 of them can take Legion equipment. But here's the cool thing. They have a rule called supporting fire. In the controlling player shooting phase, shooting attacks made by models with this special rule, which are a part of a unit that remains stationary in the previous movement phase, gain pinning.
Ooh.
Mm.
So if they're just standing on an objective, they get pinning
Yep, and they are line 1.
in their line. Yeah, so you're gonna put them on an objective. That's
And
fucking
1 in
cool.
10 and 1 in 10 of them is going to be packing an autocannon.
Can you do
So
the same? Can you do the same mixture of the shotgun and get double or triple?
No, so that's the thing is each one of these have their own specific warrior options they can take.
Oh,
The
okay.
Iron Warriors one specifically says you can take 2 shotguns or 3 shotguns. You can take 2 Legion War gear.
I missed
The
some of
Imperial
that.
Fist one specifically says for every 1 in 10 they can take an autocannon or a heavy bolter. Christian, I think you had a question.
yeah, so for all these Inductis, the ones that we just gone over already, what's the max you could take on these guys? Are they just 10? Like, are we talking about 20-man units on these ones too?
They can go to 20.
Damn. Now, that I don't know if that sounds good for any of the ones we talked about, but still, 20 in this one is really good because
It's
I
4
don't
autocannons.
think anyone can sweeping advance you anymore.
Nope, they can't. Well, I think where it's going to be really good is like units like the White Scars ones, right? They actually can go fight a Terminator squad.
Oh yeah,
They can just drown you in attacks, and then like, oh, you killed them, cool, expendable 1. Who cares?
yeah.
So the
Especially
next
if you
one,
have like 20 of them.
yeah, exactly, right? And
What
they
is
can
that,
take
like
Charter Ball
180?
Sabers,
Like
yeah, something like that.
180, 200, or yeah. So
With some good war gear options like 250, the same cost you're going to sink into a tactical squad.
mhm.
So the next one down the line is Night Lords, which I'm not going to lie, these Night Lord inducti have a hilarious little gimmick. So they are Vanguard 2. They come with bolt pistols and killer blades. The killer blades are just a straight close combat weapon, but they have breaching 6+ and precision 6+. So any 6s to wound are going to be at AP2, and they'll get to pick where the wound goes.
Nasty.
So here's another fun thing. They have a rule called the Art of Murder. It is from another rule they have called Unscrupulous Murderers. A unit which contains models with this special rule may have the Art of Murder Aftermath option selected in Step 4 of the resolution phase. So Step 4 of the resolution phase is whenever you're doing the rolls to see if you're going to like flee or hold or disengage or fall back or whatever else, right? If for every so
I like how you're like it.
this is a dude, it's a fact that regular dudes are doing this. This was so great. The controlling player rolls a single dice for every model in the unit, which has the Unscrupulous Murderer special rule. For every unmodified roll of a 6, the controlling player may allocate a single wound to any enemy model of their choosing from the selected combat, which has the hold, disengage, or fallback aftermath options selected. These wounds have an AP of nothing and a damage of 1 and are removed immediately. So if we get to the resolution step and you choose to hold, disengage, or fall back for every model in that unit, I'm going to roll a dice. And for every 6, I just put wounds wherever I want.
Fucking gross. That's sweeping advance.
Kind
go
of.
through a little bit more hoops for it, but still pretty nice. That's
pretty
funny.
cool. So
yeah.
Who was that?
Night Lords.
Night Lords.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah. I when you started it, I was like, who did he say again? And you're like, murderous this, murderous that. And I was like, that's got to be Night Lords, right?
So
we
Blood
should
Angels.
start playing a game like about that, like because most of these things are so lore driven. You could kind of guess who it goes with, except Dark Angels. Dark Angels would have been iffy because they get everything for some odd reason.
So the next one is Blood Angels. Bolt pistols, chainswords, Vanguard 2, and a rule called Eaters of the Dead.
Yeah, see, I would have put that on World Eaters.
Any model in the unit can swap their chainsword for a chain axe. I'm sorry. Let me correct that. They can swap their pistol and their chainsword for heavy chain axes. The whole unit can do that. For every 4 models, one can take a heavy chainsword, a power weapon, or a Charnabal saber. They can also take pistols, Legion war gear, all that jazz. But here's where these guys have a fun little shtick. Eaters of the Dead. In Step 4 of the Resolution subphase, a player that has won a combat must select the following aftermath option for any unit in that combat made entirely of models with this special rule. Any unit the winning player controls in the combat, which is only partially composed of models with this special rule, will have to make a cool check, instead allowing a different aftermath option to be selected. The name of this little rule is called the Thirst. A leadership check must immediately be made for each enemy unit that is not part of the combat, which has any model within 8 inches of one or more models from this unit. If the leadership check is failed, then all models in that unit gain the routed status.
So if they see you doing something fucked up?
So these guys go in, they fight in combat. If they win combat, these guys go, wow. They lose their shit, and everyone within 8 inches that can see it goes, oh shit, and has to do a leadership test. And if they fail, they freak out and run because they just watch Blood Angels eat people.
That's gross.
Thematic as hell. It's awesome. Iron Hands. Another solid banger. They come with bolters, they come with line, and they come with a rule called Forbidden Augmentation. Now, here's another little kicker. One inductii in the unit may have Phosphex bombs.
All right.
They can take a Vexilla, they can take Legion equipment, they can take chain bayonets, all the normal stuff everyone else can do, but forbidden augmentations. A unit containing only models with this special rule is considered to contain one or more models with the medic special rule for the purpose of declaring the medic advanced reaction. If a unit containing only models with the special rule in the unit is the target of the medic advanced reaction, then all recovery tests are made on a 5+. They have a built-in apothecary.
Makes sense.
It does.
That's pretty good though.
And they're also only 90 points.
At this point, people are actually really gonna struggle to see, hey, should I take these or tactical Marines?
The only time you're going to be seeing people taking tactical squads is for the prime benefits. In my opinion, is the only time that you're going to take tacticals over Inductii right now is if you have a prime slot benefit that really helps them. Because, like, dude, the World Eaters ones, they gave Ravening Madmen to the Inductii. They have Vanguard 3, they have Heedless, they have Impact Toughness, and they have Ravening Madmen. They can take heavy chain axes just like the Blood Angels can. They're fantastic. 2 attacks base and impact toughness, so they charge and they become toughness 5. What the hell? They're great. And they're Vanguard 3. That's going to be awesome. But they also have a rule called the Butcher Surgeon Prime Advantage.
Okay, that was a pretty long one.
So the Butcher Surgeon Prime Advantage says that all models in an apothecary unit selected to fill a prime slot can use this prime advantage to gain Ravening Madmen. This essentially allows them to use a prime slot to add an apothecary to Inductii with Ravening Madmen.
That's just the stack upon stack upon stack.
Also, at the start of the charge subphase, the controlling player of a unit that contains models with this special rule can elect to become Lost to the Nails. That's one of the benefits that the World Eaters have in their core book. Right. So, another good unit, another good choice. Ultramarines.
Boo.
So, thing that makes them stand out, theirs comes with a sergeant that makes them 8877 on their soft stats.
So there's your sergeant benefit.
Forever the rigid guys, right? They come with bolters, they have a line, and then they have a rule called Certainty and Resolve. When any model in a unit composed entirely of models with a special rule ever contact the battlefield edge within their controlling player's deployment as part of a fallback move, they automatically lose routed and they gain suppressed. Additionally, when making a leadership test for the status subphase, to remove the routed status, they roll an additional dice and discard the highest result. So if I'm forced to fall back and I hit the table edge, I don't die. I just become suppressed. And then if I am routed and I have to get rid of that routed status, I get to roll a third dice and drop the highest. So it just gives me options to stay on the table. It's reinforcing that rigid command structure. You know, we are Rome.
Cialis. Got it.
Very, very Ultramarine-esque. Death Guard. This one's pretty good. They are line. They maintain their Fury of the Legion.
If they move.
Well, no, so that's an important thing. Fury of the Legion is a rule on tactical squads. Thus far, the units that we've discussed haven't had Fury of the Legion.
Okay.
That's an important distinction. Death Guard keep their Fury of the Legion, they keep line, they keep their bolters, and they add a rule called Barbarian Resilience. Technically, it's Barbaran resilience. You know, whenever you're shooting at a unit and they take more than 25% casualties, they have to take a morale test?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Death Guard and Inductii. They don't give two fucks.
Makes sense.
That's their rule. It's like, oh, you killed 3 people, we don't care. I killed 7 people, we still don't care. There's one guy left. I promise he doesn't care.
That's crazy.
Thousand Suns. Kyle, your time to shine.
Yeah.
90 points.
All right.
They have Bolters. They have Line. They have unattuned practitioners.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
They have Psyker and they have unattuned to some of their traits. So the way this works is a unit that includes models with the special rule cannot have Prosperine Arcana selected for them. Instead, they have unattuned Prosperine Arcanas. All models with the unattuned Prosperine Arcana gain Etheric Guidance and Unattuned. Etheric Guidance says you do the trigger, which is you do an Etheric Guidance test. You do the focus roll. Let's see here. Okay, so basically you do a focus roll, and whatever unit you selected for the target of that focus roll gets breaching 6+ on their weapons.
Okay.
That's what your Prosperine Arcana is for that unit now. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty solid.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to ask if they could take Asphyx Bolters, but it doesn't matter if that's their Prosper and Arcana.
Yeah. So this is kind of their own way of being like, hey, like you can do this. Another thing that's important is 1 in every 4 of them can swap out their bolters for Volkite calibers.
Ooh.
So breaching on Volkite, not a fan. So Sons of Horus, they are back to being bolt pistols and chainsword. So they have Vanguard 2, and they have a rule called Creed of Brutality. Anyone can exchange their chainsword for a chain axe for free. 1 in 4 can take a heavy and all the normal jazz everyone else has been able to do, but they have this Creed of Brutality. Basically, in the start phase, they take a leadership test, and if they pass it, they get impact strength.
What does that mean?
They're +1 strength on the charge.
Oh.
So impact will say impact, and it'll have a characteristic in a bracket. So impact strength or impact toughness or impact attack or impact initiative, whatever it is, you'll get a benefit to that on the charge. So these guys can just say, "Hey, I'm going to do a leadership test," and if they pass it, they get impact strength on the charge.
Like mini chieftains. That's kind of cool.
Yes. Word bearers have one of the cooler inducti. So they're bolt pistol chainswords. They're despoilers essentially. Vanguard 2, and they have a rule called Empty Vessels. A unit containing models with the special rule may never be joined by another model without the special rule. Additionally, the first time in a battle, each unit, which includes models with the special rule, scores a victory point due to Vanguard. So the first time during the battle, if they score any points with their Vanguard special rule, they immediately take D3 automatic wounds at AP2. So it sounds weird so far, right? These guys score Vanguard points and then they immediately take D3 wounds, right?
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was going to ask you to clarify.
Cool.
They themselves do it.
They morph into fucking demons and get a 6 of Feel No Pain and become Malefic.
How many wounds do they have?
They're normal attack wounds. They're 1 wound, but they become Malefic and they get a 6 up Feel No Pain for the remainder of the game.
So they do have a chance to just off themselves and never come back.
Yeah.
But the ones that stick around are kind of buff beyond belief.
Well, they're Malefic, So they're gonna have some stuff that goes with them there, but then they're also gonna have that Feel No Pain, which isn't bad. It's funny to think that there's guys out there just like, oh, we scored a thing, yay, demons, and they just morph into a creature. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's this I think is one of them that I would play around taking a 20-man squad just to see like
Right, like
how many of them are going to transform. Yeah. That's actually pretty cool.
So now we get down to the Salamanders. The Salamanders Inductis also have a sergeant that make them 8877. Pretty cool. They have bolt pistols and chain swords. They are Vanguard 2, and they have a rule called War Gear of Heroes. What's funny here is 1 in every 5 can take sergeant melee weapons. Up to 2 of them can take Legion equipment. The sergeant can take a chainsword or anything from the sergeant melee list. Anyone in the unit can take Legion pistols. The sergeant can also take lightning claws, and he can take melta bombs. So he's a really flexible unit. The sergeant also has weapon skill 5.
Okay, that's big.
Yep, War Gear of Heroes. When resolving a combat in a resolution subphase of an assault, the controlling player of any models with this special rule may have inflicted at least 1 unsaved wound in the combat in the same turn, score 1 additional combat resolution. So if they score any wounds that were unsaved, at least 1, they'll get +1 to combat resolution. So
That's cool.
We fight each other. I kill 2 people, you kill 3 people. Well, you suffered unsaved wounds, so that becomes a 3. We tied. That's their special rule. Raven Guard, they have a line. They have bolt guns. They have a thing called Unchained Conviction. 1 in every 10 of these models can take a Nemesis bolt gun. Whenever models in this unit gain the pinned tactical status, they immediately just fall back and then everything falls off. So if you pin them, they do a fallback move and then everything falls off. That's their special rule.
But okay. Yeah. It's pretty good.
And then the last
that's a good like objective unit.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you've got an army kind of like Iron Warriors or other stuff that have pinning, and it's just like, oh, you're pinned. Okay, we'll fall back.
Yeah.
So Alpha Legion, they have bolt guns. They have line 1, and they have a thing called Treacherous Lure. 1 in every 5 models can take a Legion combi weapon. And their special rule says that a unit composed entirely of models with this special rule may not be selected as a target of a shooting attack during the first battle turn.
You can't shoot them?
Not on turn 1.
As if I needed another reason to dislike Alpha Legion.
That's not the worst thing first, like, going on with first turn shenanigans in this game. I'm just saying. There's a lot of other stuff we need to look out for actually right now. But that's still good. Do they still get that, I guess? Like if they're in a rhino, you move that rhino up like, I don't know, as far as you can and then disembark them?
Yep.
Huh.
So that's all the inducti. So my takeaways from this are, unless you are levying prime slot advantages, from a tactical standpoint, I don't see why you wouldn't take inducti over tactical squads. There's a couple of units out there where like Luna Wolves and Blood Angels, where these are close combat armies, and maybe you want normal tactical squads out there. That would be a reason not to take Inductii. But for the most part, I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm like, man, most of these are pretty good.
Yeah. As I said, people are gonna kind of struggle a little bit seeing what they want to take.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here looking at like, unless you're really wrapped up on getting the prime advantage slot, or you're needing that for some flexibility, because there are a couple of armies out there where you need your prime slot for logistical benefit or for some other stuff where you may need to take one. Beyond that, I'm not seeing a downside here. They're pretty good. They're pretty all right. Thematic wise, it's going to be kind of funny to play around with Inductii, because if you have an army of all Inductii, just a bunch of just new dudes running around, and then you have one grizzled veteran centurion, it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? So it's definitely a different, like, it's going to bring a different feel to the game. I'm excited for it.
For sure.
There's a lot of flexibility in these, and mixing and matching them with normal tactical squads is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
You know, especially with armies like Blood Angels, where they can take Inductii for close combat, they can take regular tacticals to kind of hold the table. And I think the beauty of it is, you know, I have an Inductii squad with a bunch of chainswords, whatever else. Like, cool, it's on a 150 point unit. I'm not throwing away 250 point Terminators.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing Suzerain up there and hoping for the best. They're a tactical squad.
So these Inductii that we're talking about, how what do their models look like? What are we looking at for models? What do we build these out of, basically?
Space Marines. They are regular tactical Marines. So the only thing that's going to be kind of stringent is getting some of the close combat options, some of the weapon options and things like that. So like for your Blood Angels, your Sons of Horus, your White Scars, where they're saying bolt pistols and chainswords, you're just gonna take a despoiler squad and you're gonna call it Inductii.
So GW is giving everyone in the hobby a reason to go out and buy more tactical squads.
As if we didn't already have good reasons to get tactical squads.
Yeah, we're even more reason to go out and get tactical squads. Like we said, you can never have enough tactical squads. Now,
I just
squads.
I just want to go back to like episode 2 or 3 when I said, if you can get your hands on the older starter box, get it, because you'll never have enough tactical squads. You'll always need more bodies. This is proof of that. You'll always need more bodies.
Yeah, it's heresy. It's Space Marine on Space Marine action. Basically, tacticals on tacticals most of the time.
Yeah. Now, for the guys who get wrapped up in the thematics and the narrative section, Inductii will be the most plain Jane, green, fresh, wet behind the ears troops you have, right? So you won't, if you're wanting to stay to a narrative build, these guys are going to be in Mark 6. You're not going to see Inductii in Mark 2. You're not going to see him in Mark 3 or even Mark 4, really. You're going to see him in Mark 6. Because they're brand new. They haven't done anything yet. They're walking out brand new. Their army isn't even chipped yet, hadn't even broken in.
Fresh off the boat.
Yeah. So you're not going to build these guys out of veterans and things like that. That would be the only distinction I would say from a narrative standpoint. Now, from a hobby standpoint, if you bought a Saturnine box and you're like, but Gabe, I don't know what to do with these 40 bitch ass bodies, make them Inductii. I don't care. And if you have an opponent that looks at you and says, those can't be Inductii, they're in Mark 2. I'm not going to condone violence, but you handle it accordingly. So that's what they're going to be built off of. Is regular Space Marine frames. You just have to match their war gear. And again, apart from the fact that they can't be put in a prime slot and some of their keywords are a little bit different, there's not a detriment to taking these guys. They can still go into normal rhinos. They can still go into other transports. They still fit into your normal troop slots in your standard crusade detachment or your tactical support detachment. They're just a troop slot. Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I'm just in here wondering why I even have tactical tax squads at this point.
Fantastic question. So let me elaborate on why it's still good. So are you asking from a 1,000 Sun standpoint or a Death Guard standpoint?
No, 1,000 Suns for sure.
Okay, from 1,000 Suns.
Because we've
Your
already
1,000.
decided that the Asphyx bolters are not worth it.
Well, not that they're not worth it. It's just a matter of if you are willing to roll the dice on psychic powers rather than getting a surefire thing, it's more point effective.
And also, what is the objective? Is that unit meant to do in your squad? If you just have them as a 10-man squad, go and sit on an objective, take them as cheap as possible.
Now, let's talk about the flip flop of why you still want tacticals, right? So you take a 90-point unit of Inductii, they have their bolt guns, you use their unattuned Arcana, you give them breaching 6+, right? If they stand still, how many shots do you get a turn at 12 inches?
2.
That's right, you get 2. If you had a tactical squad and you stood still, how many shots do you get?
3?
Yes, 3. Because your tactical squad has Fury of the Legion.
I'm over here thinking it's a trick question and shit.
I know the way. Yes, Kyle, you got it correct. Good job.
That is correct.
Yeah, I was about to break out the Chris Farley and be like, that is correct. So there's still a place for your tactical squads in the sense of you park them on an objective and you just want to be able to use either your Prosperine Arcana or your Asphyx Bolters and just open up on somebody. You still have Fury of the Legion and all that with your normal tactical squad. With the Inductii squad, you lose Fury of the Legion to gain the free unattuned practitioners. That's the benefit, is you're not paying for the Arcana. They come with it. And then you have a little bit more flexibility because a couple of them can get Volkites and things like that. But for the most part, tactical squads still have a use. I know from an Ultramarine standpoint, I like the Inductii. They're really good. But I'm still going to have some regular tactical squads running around because I want Fury of the Legion. I want the mass volley fire.
Yeah.
Where armies are going to come into like some questions as to whether or not they're worth taking, I think Iron Warriors players are going to have a really hard time taking tactical squads over Inductii. Because normally...
Depends, but yes, you're right.
Well, so normally when you're looking at Iron Warriors, it's like, okay, cool. Well, if I take Perturabo, he can make 4 units, all prime, and they can become expendable. Inductii are already expendable. The Inductii have the options to take shotguns. The Inductii have the options to take shrapnel bolters. The Inductii have the options to do all the things a regular tactical squad can do. It all comes down to that prime slot advantage as to whether or not you need it. If the Iron Warrior squad wasn't both line and expendable, it would be a little bit different. But since they have both, and they have implacable advance, dude, they're just show-stoppingly good. So it's going to be a tricky thing. Where I think it's going to come down is when we start getting reps in and you start playing with Inductii, I think one of the things that everyone's kind of falling asleep on is, dude, the reduction in the soft skills, the leadership, the cool, the willpower, and the intelligence, I think that's going to have more of an impact than people are ready for. And that's going to be a big detriment to Inductii. Because if I'm looking at a unit of Inductii, a regular squad of them, the leadership arc is going to be around a 7. Normal tactical squads are going to have an 8 with their sergeant. When you look at the rest of the soft skills, willpower 7, intelligence 7 across the boards on regular Space Marines, that -1, almost no one really thinks, like, oh, well, 6 versus 7, it's not that bad. Yeah, it is that bad. Your statistical probabilities of rolling that test just became 50%. That's the midpoint. And anyone who thinks that, oh, yeah, we can definitely roll a 6 or roll this, tell me how many successful charges you've had fail on 2d6 when you needed a 4.
Tell me how many times we rolled snake eyes, but yeah.
Yeah, like I think that soft skill, that one change down, is gonna impact some people in some ways they haven't seen yet. So finding ways to manipulate that, or finding a way to remove statuses without having to rely on their own soft skills, or possibly adding models to them, something like that, I'm not sure. I'm also not sure if you actually can. Yeah, you can. The only thing they can do, they can't take a prime advantage. So that, like I said, that's the only weakness, is the softening of the soft skills, and overall the flexibility I think is really good. The Imperial Fist Squad is fantastic in my opinion.
Yep.
Being able to take autocannons in a tactical squad, sign me up.
Also, the Death Guard one is pretty fucking good.
Oh yeah,
Keeping
Death
Fury
Guard
of the
one is
Legion.
legit.
That's what I was like. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where you're gonna have to get reps, you're gonna have to get playing time in, and you're gonna have to just practice and learn and just absorb information and see how it all lines up. This is one of those, time in game is going to tell how good they really are. But on paper, they all look fantastic, man.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they cooked up, because I wonder if we will get more rules for them coming out when more of the journals come out. If we would start getting other ways to, like, maybe a command squad where if you only take all inductii, it'll do something for you.
Well, so okay, so you're not going to see that. Inductii are brand new dudes. You're not going to see them in command spots or anything like that. That's going to be a trope that I'm sure that we're going to stick to, is they're only going to be brand new guys. Now, what I do see maybe coming down the line is there may be a new, because we have seen this before, where certain command units give benefits to inductii.
Okay, like orders?
Kinda. So in last edition, we had it wasn't Camba Diaz. It was a Blood Angels, one of the Blood Angels commanders. He's known as like the Lord of the Inductii. And he allowed the Inductii to get certain benefits while he was attached to the army. So what we may see is something similar to, like, in the first journal, we saw the Deep Strike commander, where he guaranteed your Deep Strike came in, kind of thing. Well, we may see something where, as long as this guy's on the field, your Inductii maybe get that lift in soft stats. Or if they can draw line of sight to him, or if he's within a certain distance, they can use his leadership or whatever for their stuff. We may see that. I'm not going to rule it out. It's a possibility. But we're not going to see Inductii command squads or Inductii anything else. This is essentially what you see now is what you're going to get with Inductii, but we may get some other stuff to support them.
Yeah, I mean, they have to give us reason to still take tac squads, right? So can't make them too good.
Well, I think the reason to take tacticals, like I said, is just the flexibility. There's still just some units that are too good. Like Dark Angels, their Inductii are fantastic, but I don't know if you want an entire army of Volkite. Sometimes you want the Fury of the Legion. You know what I mean? Like you want that extra
Wait,
bolt.
I can't
shot.
believe Gabe just said that
Did
sentence.
Gabe just say
2.0.
that?
Yeah, 2.0 Gabe will be like, what the fuck did you just say? New game, though. New game.
I subscribe to the notion that none of us have enough reps in the game yet to really know what we're talking about.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
So
yeah, this is all speculation and book reading.
So everything I'm taking with a grain of salt, and I'm just going off of previous experience and previous knowledge, right? Volkite is good, but Volkite has a shorter range. You know, both in your game lives and your personal lives, I'm sure you guys have felt the lack of like 2 or 3 inches, right? So when we're looking at what that means on the table,
roller coasters as a kid, but I couldn't.
when you look at like say the Alpha Legion rule, where Alpha Legion is like, oh, my 3-inch rule. Okay, that screwed over a lot of people last time. You know, Kyle, your Asphyx bolters or something like that, it was only like 18-inch range to 24, something like that. At one point, I can't remember exactly, but there was something you had that was like it made it 18 or instead of 24. I know with Iron Warriors, the shrapnel bolters went to 18 instead of 24, and it would catch up with you after a while. You'd be like, man, I'm gonna have to move out of position to get these extra shots, and it was a thing, right? So once we start playing and seeing how they all adapt, we'll get a better idea. But for right now, I like the place they're in.
Yeah. And like I was saying in the beginning, at some point, if you just think points wise, most of these are coming in at 90 to 100 points. That's 10 points a model, maybe sometimes 8 point a model, depending on where they're at. That's just good. You're getting like honestly a 6-point body with so many special rolls on it. It's just cheap.
Yeah, and like I
you're
said,
gonna need a lot of them.
I think you're going to see a lot of stuff like Emperor's Children and, you know, White Scars, Face Wolves, Blood Angels, where these guys can take a lot of close combat options in a normal line spot. And this is going to give you a little bit more flavor to your army, a little bit more crunch, without having to sacrifice, you know, those now even more delicate elite slots that are being provided by your extra detachments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely think it's going to give a lot more flexibility. We're going further away from cookie cutter 40K, cookie cutter heresy.
Yeah.
You know, where, you know, again, we said this about heresy last edition. It was like, cool. We're going to see dreadnoughts. We're going to see las cannon teams. That's not the case anymore. And I'm actually really excited to look across the table and be like, hey, man, what'd you bring? Like, oh, I got 2 Inductii, I got 2 tactical squads, I got 2 plasma squads, I got 2 las cannon squads, I've got 2 units of Ravagers, I got 2 units of this. And you're going to be like, holy shit, this is 3,000 points?
Yeah, that's shit.
You know, I was working on the list that I'm going to do for our 1,000-point kind of escalation grow. And I was sitting here like, how do I still have points? How do I still have points? What's going on? I still have points. So we're going to see a lot of heavy foot troop armies, especially with the Inductii, man. They're going to do good stuff for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now,
the one thing though that I'm kind of concerned with is everything we talk about. Like I said, we just need reps into it, but those reps against those people that we play is going to be our local metas. So I don't know. Some people might be listening to this and be like, "No, we're not playing that," and go like all vehicles and dreadnoughts and like Terminators and stuff. Saturday Terminators. There was a new detachment for them or a new command squad for them. So
yeah,
you never know.
Kyle?
Was it a leak or a new book that had all the Saturnine, the special?
Nope.
Unions?
There is a new book coming out this following weekend. A new Journal Tactica.
That's one of those paperback books that aren't shrink wrapped, right?
Yes.
Good way to put it, Kyle. Good way to put it.
And it's got from what I saw at least, it has special Saturnines for each legion.
I don't know. What I saw is it had different. It had a. I don't know if you would call it command squad, just for Saturnine that every Legion could take.
Yep.
So
it comes out this weekend, and I'll pick it up and I'll comb through it and all that good jazz.
That's a preview for next episode.
Yeah. Next episode we'll get into it for sure. I really wanted to focus on this episode on just the Inductii because, like, last edition, it was really funny because they rolled out Inductii and everyone was super excited about it, right? Because we've read about this in books. We're like, oh my god, Inductii, we're getting all the new recruits and they're going to be awesome. They're going to be doing hood rat shit. And then we started reading the rules and we're like, I got to do what?
Never mind.
These fucking new guys.
Bro, it was 100% like the only way I could describe it is it's like that part in Joe Dirt where he's like, only snakes and sparklers. That's no bottle rockets, no whisker do's, no whisker don'ts. Like when you looked at Inductii in 2.0, it's not that they weren't bad, they just weren't good enough to justify over all the other stuff you would take. And part of that was, in 2.0, we talked about how it's leaning into the crazy. There was a lot of crazy, and Inductii kind of fell to the wayside. Looking at these rules, the Inductii are kind of the crazy. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be really fun, and we need to start getting reps in. That's going to be the next big thing, is getting games in and filling out, how we actually feel about some of these changes.
Yeah, these mechanics.
Yep.
Yeah, we need to get some. We're gonna have. I'm gonna say it that way. We're gonna have some TTS games loaded up on our YouTube channel soon.
Yeah. So the goal is going to be to play through a lot of stuff and really just spend some time learning the game slowly to really break it down. Because, like I said, I mean, I think I've got like 3 games in total, and I absorb a lot of information really well, and I've got a lot of gaming experience, so I can soak up quite a bit of information. But there are so many changes that you still don't know the full depth of the game yet. We're still grasping it.
And we're gonna stick to our guns and what we said, and we're starting at 1,000 points.
Yep. That's my plan.
Because that is the best way to learn. That's the best way that we could build our armies from there, and to really grasp what our guys do. And I could see us actually starting with Inductii.
I'm already ahead of you, man. When the Inductii dropped, I went back and rewrote my new Legion list to include Inductii because they are exponentially better for the gimmick I'm going for. Which I think I shared that list with you. I'm not sending that list out there quite yet.
Yeah, but it's funny you say gimmick, but it's like, is it really? Is the game plan really a gimmick now?
Well, my army is. Okay. I'm going with a full gimmick style list. Like this army, if it wins games, I'll love it, but that's not the point.
Nice. Look forward to reading that list.
So, yeah, but beyond that, let's start getting ready for some playthroughs, and we'll go from there. You guys got anything else for the viewers before we sign off?
So that's about it.
No, be sure to buy your raffle. Oh wait, never mind. Warzone will be here next year.
Are you just going? Are you that sleep deprived right now?
He's like, oh wait, that happened. This happened too, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
I guess I'll give you the good old like and subscribe, everybody.
I tell you what, I'll hit you with the next big one, and this is what it is. So everybody who listens, who's planning on going, I'm going to Adepticon. I don't know who else is going to Adepticon, But what I would like to know is if you are going to Adepticon, reach out to me. Either reach out to me on the Discord, reach out to me personally, whatever else. Let's coordinate some stuff to do some hood rat shit when we're in Milwaukee. I will say
There's
that.
also this one in Dallas in January.
Yeah, there's the one in Dallas in January. That one's already posted up in the Late Night Dice Discord.
Yeah.
That's.
Are we all going to that? I know I'm going to that.
I sure
I'm
would
planning.
like to.
I'm planning on going to that one. It's going to come down to where that falls in the new year. It's I'm trying to get there. It's like a 90% I'm going because it's being put on by a couple of really good friends of mine, and I would like to go up there and support their stuff and kind of get a grip for it. And it would be the first 3.0 event that I'd do. So 100%,
sure.
I'm going to try and get up to that one.
What day
And
is it?
Yep. Yep.
It's a Friday and a Saturday.
Details are in the Discord. What I will also say is, before we sign off, if you have an event wherever you are, and I don't care where it is, I don't care if it's in Muskogee, I don't care if it's in Pennsylvania, I don't care if it's in New York, I don't care if it's in Florida, I don't care if it's in New Zealand. If you have an event and you are trying to draw some attention toward your event, feel free to put it in the Late Night Dice Discord. While it's there, people will see it, people will read it. We see more and more activity on the Discord every day. And also keep in mind, we still have our hobby hangouts every Tuesday. I did miss this past Tuesday because I was a little under the weather. But we're still going to be doing those hobby hangouts every Tuesday night at 7:30. So with that being said, happy dice, happy life, fuck Erebus, and we will catch you guys on the next episode.
Good night,
Like and
guys.
subscribe.
Lame.